A new political party, the All Democratic Alliance, is being formed by prominent opposition leaders in the country, including David Mark, the former Senate President and Chairman of the National Opposition Coalition Group, Rotimi Amaechi, former Minister of Transportation and Chairman of the New Platform Committee, and also Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and Nasir El-Rufai, former Governor of Kaduna State. The ADA, which of course is the acronym for the new formation, aims to unify opposition forces, promote national unity, and challenge the ruling party ahead of 2027. Well, joining me to discuss this is Peter Ameh, is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties. He joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Peter. Well, great, will I call it, development again in Nigeria's political space. Some will say that this is not exclusive, it's not novel. We've seen this happen time and time again, and that maybe, just maybe, the question of how long, if at all, it will stand the test of time. What's your take?
First of all, political parties are body corporate, with perpetual succession, and every member of the public, we have authority to belong to this political party if registered. But at this infant stage, this is the only application has been put in, and that application has to be processed by INEC. It has to follow certain criteria that have been established in the Constitution and some guidelines of the established by INEC itself in the Political Party Guidelines 2022. But when you look at Section 2223, where it clearly says that the political party will have their executive elected from democratically elected from the ward level up to the national level, and for a period of 4 years. So with this one now, the pro tem and the pro tem chairman, secretary, and other national working committee members with the presentation of 2/3 of executive from 24th state of the federation. So this is just the initial stage. But one thing I love about our processes and about our multi-party democratic process is the opportunity it gives for people who wants to belong to an association that protect their interests to be able to pursue their ideology and pursue their interests through that channel and get a party registered. For a very short time now, INEC has been acting using bureaucratic bottlenecks to stand as an obstacle to the growth of opposition politics in Nigeria. But I think going forward, if politicians opposition leaders put their self right, they will be able to make sure that INEC ensure that the right thing is done when it comes to the commission, because the commission is going to come with a lot of bureaucracy.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Peter. Before we even come bring in the role of INEC in all of this, let's look at the objective of this. Let me call it alliance for now, because I mean officially it's not a political party yet. The objective of the alliance and the political makeup of persons. That would take me to an assertion by the former national, that's the Northern Elders Forum spokesperson, the former spokesperson for the Northern Elders Forum, that's Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, who did express, well, I call it some reservation. It described the group, as being deeply fragmented and dominated by individuals reluctant to relinquish power. I mean, look at the names there. These people have been in government at one point or the other, right? And right now they seem to be out of government and saying, you know what, we need to come together to unseat the government. My question is this in the interest of Nigerians or their personal political ambition? What do you think this is about?
For me, as an opposition politician, I always believe that the more the opposition gets more members to support its cause, to remove a non-performing government that has not been able to fulfill any of its promise, is another advantage to the cause of the opposition. But why he now said that that there's so much disunity and in the opposition coalition, yes, I agree. I've always maintained my own opinion that if we have a gentleman agreement between the North and the South, and this is where you have challenges, as of today, none of the leaders of this coalition that you have mentioned has admitted in being ADA or being a member of ADA. They all still belong to their respective political party. Atiku is still a member of PDP. Peter Ameh is still a member of a Labour Party. El-Rufai is a member of SDP. Well, this period, we need to all we need to do is to be able to allow the opposition to understand that what the critical issue is to look at issue of equity, fair play, and opportunity to be given to all members of the region. If you look at the situation for now in our political system, we have a gentleman zoning arrangement that it rotates between the south and the north. And if the south has for eight years and they have done 4 years, they should be able to look within their rank. Somebody who has momentum, somebody who has the public acceptance. You know, if they are really willing to defeat Tinubu, because if they choose somebody from another zone, you are going to be uniting the southern Nigeria against the northern candidate, and it will not go well for the success the opposition intend to achieve. So are you saying that anything can undermine further by not keeping to the agreement? But as it is today, whether El-Rufai is part of the process, you can't write him off. Whether Amaechi is part of the process, whether Atiku is part of the process, all these people are coming to contribute to the strength of the opposition to be able to defeat the government in power that have performed very poorly. In 2015, we saw when 5 governors, including Atiku and Bukola Saraki, joined forces with the then opposition to remove Jonathan from office. So we are not counting their sin. And what we are looking at there, maybe people can have epiphany and they have a sudden realization that, oh, what we did has not generated the positive result that we intend to have, and now we have to do this. So you now have a Peter Obi who ran an independent candidate under the Labour Party, and I was able to galvanize and energize the young people, energize trade union, market women to be able to seize the kind of policies he was pushing, and people accepted that, and you saw what happened with the speed and the momentum he got in that election with over 6.1 million votes, even defeating Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the south by 44.5%, while Bola Ahmed Tinubu got 35.5%. So the advantage is for the opposition to sit down, do a proper analysis, and remove selfish interest, remove whatever interest that is going to declare their sense of reason and judgment, and put Nigeria at the center front of this discussion, so that we can have an opposition understanding that will eventually lead to the removal of APC since that since APC came in 2015.
All right, Mr. Peter, I'm sorry.
Nothing has really worked. Even the political space has been constricted. It's shrinking by the day. So we need people that will see beyond their nose and then do what is right for the benefit of Nigerian people.
All right, Mr. Ameh, definitely we'll come back to this, but go on a quick break. Once we return, we'll also look at this issue from another perspective, still dwelling on some of statements made by the former spokesperson of the Northern Elders Forum. Do stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. I still have Peter Ameh, the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties, as my guest this evening. Thank you for staying with me, sir. Now, quickly, before we wrap up, another angle to this conversation Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed did raise is that he argued that many Nigerians, remain unconvinced that this coalition, would form a viable alternative, but said that the comments, did add to a growing cause for reform for generational leadership ahead of, the 2027 elections. Of course, that's what they speculate. And that brings this conversation to the idea of looking at maybe a new crop of, what I call it, political leaders. Some of these names, some Nigerians or many Nigerians will tell you, oh, we are used to some of these names that keep coming up and getting recycled, every election. But there are other people too on the ballot. For instance, we have Anomayele Sowore, who was the presidential candidate for, the AAC during the last election. And we also had another individual like Adewale Adebayo, a Nigerian lawyer and also politician, who was also the presidential candidate of the SDP. These are young individuals, according to many Nigerians, who might be an alternative. But why does it seem like we seem to go back to the same old names, the same stock that we are used to?
The issue is about messaging. The two people you mentioned are people who are very close with. They are my friends. and I have huge respect for them. But the issue is about, do you have a base? Do you have, you know, people who are like your catchment area, you know, that you can catch up, and then this is the amount of votes you bring back to the ballot. Even as much as Barry contested more than 4 times, the 4th time and he won. People, there was a base, and people knew that in the north he could bring certain amount of votes to the table at any particular time. So the election is not just about sentiment that you want somebody to be a presidential candidate that will be followed. If the people, if this message does not resonate with larger population of the country, then you have a challenge. This message must connect to the people. The people must accept it and see that your message can really bring a relief. People talk about some those who have been in government. You have Atiku Abubakar, who has been vice president before, for twice, from 2019 to 2007, and who has also run for president several times, and will be 81 years old in 2027. So these are other issues that are there. You have Peter Ameh, who has the obedient movement, you know, standing behind him and standing firm. You have the Southeast. When he contested, he had close to 90% vote in the Southeast. So you must have a politician that has a catchment base. So it's not just about just going into an election with a ruling government and trying to do an experiment in the process. So in politics is beyond just how you feel about any candidate, but do you have that spread? Do you have where they can go and say this vote will come out, 7 million votes, 8 million votes can come out on election day before there would not be a larger push of campaign? Because you can't just go running against a government in power that controls apparatus of state, that has a more larger resources to spend, and then you now say, no, you are going to do trial luck. It's not about, Chief Peter Ameh, I contested for president in 2019. I got 22,000 votes. Even some of the people, I got more votes for them. But it's not about me. Now it's about the messaging. It's about the fact that these are the candidates that are obviously known in Nigeria today. You want to talk about them. For me, I would have said, Atiku has a right to contest. There's no doubt about that. But the fact is that, I always respect that right of his to contest. But the fact is that what Bola Ahmed Tinubu did in 2015 and Buhari came in, he should be able to now also build a legacy and look at the candidate among these candidates that are leading today from the south that has momentum, that has a support base, and then endorse that person and writing his name down in gold. But that does not still take away his right. That's my personal opinion. So if I will feel, I used to be a presidential candidate, but today I support Peter Obi. It doesn't mean that other people will not have their right to the order of their candidate. Let me come into an election of this magnitude that comes up in 2027, and then all we want to do is to go and do experiment or to go and take risk and jettison the south and northern arrangement of rotational power. There will be consequences for any of this action if we take it, and that is why I have been at the forefront of trying to talk to our opposition leaders to see reason why we must unite ourselves around a candidate that has that momentum, that has that, that wide reach and that popularity that has been tested on the ballot. Because you can be popular, but can you take your popularity to the ballot? Can your popularity earn you vote on the day of election? And there are a lot of popular people in Nigeria. There are a lot of popular comedians. There are a lot of popular skit makers. But can that popularity take them to the ballot? It is about the guarantee that when you have a candidate and on election day, there will be people who are committed, who believe in this candidate and say, no, we will vote for this candidate on election day. That is just what matters. Anything outside that, you will be running to sentiment and say, no, this one is younger, this one is older. No, it is about opposition politics and ruling government. In a multi-party democratic system, one party will be in government, while others will be outside trying to come in. And in trying to come in, it must be strategy based on solid information and data. You cannot take that away. With that, there will be a mistake that will have its own consequences. And
in one word, Mr. Ameh, I mean, you said all of this, but what about the issue of credibility here? In one word, 30 seconds. How does that play out in all of this?
Credibility on one part. I don't want to be talking. I came to this show to try to talk about the opposition, but if you want to talk about these candidates have been tested. Is it Peter Obi they are talking about his credibility? It's in public domain. He has all the credentials. For me, he's a man that I know that have conquered greed. I know him personally, and I've related. He has conquered greed. He has tried to maintain some level of costing.
I wasn't directing the question of credibility to any particular candidate. You listed a couple of criteria, and I said that the issue of credibility too, looking across board, how important is this in 30 seconds?
No, credibility is very important, and it's part of the integrity that must, come with every candidate that we have to put forward. If we have to put any candidate forward, we have to look at the perception too, because perception is largely responsible for decision making in the political process for electorate, because perception to them is stronger than reality. So we need to have a candidate that the electorate can connect with. I cannot decide for them, but what I'm saying is that eventually, if we make mistakes and a candidate that resonates with the public, then they'll be.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you. Peter Ameh is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties. It's been a pleasure once again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for.
All right. And of course, this is where we drop the curtains on today's episode. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's on News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakwa Adiboye. Until I come your way again, good night.